Um, Thank you guys for all coming. This is the final part of our prompt engineering piece of the Agentforce Specialist exam as a part of our study group, which has been amazing thus far. Karyn has kindly offered to present this part, and this is our portion on creating, activating, and executing prompt templates. And it's truly the nuts and bolts of how so much of what we're going to be doing in this is built off of. So I'm very excited to hear Karyn share some vital information with us. Karyn, go for it.
Okay, great. All right, so we've covered when to use Prompt Builder. We've covered user roles and considerations for creating prompt templates. We've covered when to use different grounding techniques. And finally, we will be covering creating, activating, and executing prompt templates. So a little bit about myself before I get started. My name is Karyn Dubravetz. I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for about 5 years. I just started at Genesis Works as a junior Salesforce admin. So far that's going great, really loving it there. I have my 2 cats here, Kava and Buzza. I love gardening. This is a picture of me with my super tall and prized foxglove plants. And then I'm also a foster mom. I foster a few batches of kittens a year. So this is my latest little batch of 3 that I had about 6 months ago or so. So
they are so cute.
Thank you. I really love them. It's always hard to say goodbye, but it's worth it. So today, what we'll cover turning on Einstein so that we can go ahead and use the tools. And then I'm going to go over how to create 4 of the types of prompt templates. There are many more prompt template types, as have been mentioned in previous presentations, but Salesforce seems to kind of be focusing on these main 4, especially in terms of the certification. So those are the 4 that I will be covering. And then I'll go over a few resources. So first things first, we got to turn it on. So in your Salesforce setup, you'll just search for Einstein setup and you'll toggle that on switch for turn on Einstein. Very simple. Okay, so for the first template type, we'll be doing the field generation template type. And our use case here is we are going to summarize case comments and store those comments in a field on the case object. And for this demo, I really just followed along with the trailhead Get Started with Prompt Builder. So if you want even more detailed instructions and background information, you can reference that. Let's see here if I can access my chat. I can easily, I'll add this to the resources as well, but I'll pop that link in the chat if you're interested in that. So the steps for the field generation prompt template, we are going to create a new field, and then we are going to create our prompt template, and then we will add the field to the Lightning record page and configure it with Einstein. So creating a new field, I am not going to cover the details of this. Anyone getting into Einstein already knows how to create a new field. But one detail I did want to cover is what types of fields you can use. So I was kind of adding this into my presentation at the last minute, and I went to the Salesforce help page and I used their Agentforce agent to just ask it a quick question. So it let me know you can do text, text area long, and text area rich. But I thought it'd be fun to just include the screenshot of asking the agent for that quick answer rather than searching through all the pages. So we're going to get right into creating the prompt template. So in Salesforce Setup, we're going to search for Prompt Builder, and we'll click New Prompt Template. Alrighty, so this is the screen that you'll get when you go to create a new prompt template. We're going to fill in the prompt template type, which is field generation. We're going to give that a name and a description, and then we're going to select our object and field. So for each prompt template type, which is a little bit of a mini tongue twister for me, for each prompt template type, the resources that you can add here on the bottom change according to the template type, which kind of makes sense. So for field generation, you can select an object and you can select a field. So we've selected case, and we've selected quick summary as our field. So quick summary would be the field that we had just created specifically for this use case. Or if you have another text field that you want to add Einstein to, you could use a pre-existing text field. So once we click next from here, we'll get into the actual prompt builder workspace. So I'm going to pause here just for a minute. This may be your first time seeing the actual prompt builder, where we get to go in and actually do the fun part of creating the prompts. So we'll take a look at each section of the prompt builder. So first of all, we have the prompt template workspace. So this is where we're going to actually enter that prompt and any instructions. We're going to select a resource. Over on the right sidebar here is where you can select your large language model. And then on the bottom is where you can preview your preview the template. Let's see here. Okay, so now we'll get into the actual use case. So in the prompt template workspace, I have entered the prompt. You can see in the blue font here is the resources that I've selected. So you have your list of resources at the top. And the first handful of resources are available in most of the prompt templates. So you have your flows, you can select Apex, you can select a field from the current organization or the current user. And then for the field generation prompt template, we also have the object that we've configured at the beginning. So we have case. And then I want to show you how we got, you may have noticed that we had the related list of case comments. I think I can go, yeah. So here's the resources we've selected: related list, case comments, the case subject, case priority, and case type. So to get to those related lists, we would click on case here and then scroll down to the bottom of the list. So for any objects that you may be working with, if you want to add the related list, they're down there at the bottom. And we'll select our large language model, and then we can preview the prompt. So we'll select our related record that we want to preview. So that's what I've selected there. And then in the preview section, on the left-hand side, we have the resolution. So that's just basically the prompt restated where the resources that we've selected have kind of merged in for the specific record. And then on the right-hand side is the response that you get from the large language model. So this is a great way, if you didn't really love the response that you're getting, you can go back and tweak your prompt, preview it again, see if it's what you're looking for. You can go back and forth if you want. So that's how you can start getting towards that. I want to say perfect, but never perfect, but getting towards the desired prompt. Okay, and when you're all set, you can save and activate your prompt template. When you come back in, if you'd like to edit the prompt template, you'll have the option to save as a new version or save as a new template, similar to working with Salesforce Flow. Okay, so now we're going to add the field to the Lightning record page and configure it with Einstein. Okay, so important note here, you must be using dynamic forms in order to use field generation. So in this Lightning record page as it stands, you can kind of see the details where the fields are. It's just a block of fields. That's how you can see that it has not been upgraded to dynamic forms. So if you haven't upgraded, the object you're working with, the record page, the Lightning record page rather, you'll need to upgrade to dynamic forms before you can configure Einstein. So you'll just click that button. I'm not going to go through all the details of upgrading to dynamic forms, but kind of just a note. Okay, so now we've upgraded to dynamic forms. You can see the details looks a little bit different here. So what you'll do is you'll select the field that you want to add Einstein to, and then you'll get the panel on the right-hand side. And one of the options is this Einstein-generated AI. And from there, you can select the prompt that we've just created, the prompt template that we've just created. So make sure that the prompt template that you're working on has been activated, and that's what will allow it to appear in this list that you can select. And then once you select it, it's kind of hard to see, but you get a cute little Einstein logo there on your field, which I kind of like, and that's the trigger to yourself that you've set up Einstein for this field. Okay, so, and make sure you save and activate your page. Sorry, moving forward. So now we're back on the user side. So this is what it'll look like when the user actually executes this prompt. So here's their page. This is the quick summary field. It's a little bit subtle, but you can see that where the other fields have a pencil icon to edit the page, the quick summary field has this sort of magical pencil to fill in with Einstein. So that gives your user a tip that they might have some magic there behind the scenes that they can use. So once they edit the page, once they open the page to edit, they'll get this little sparkly button there to the right of the field, and that's what they can click to kick off the prompt template. So they'll click that button, and then Einstein comes up with it. It goes through your prompt. It comes up with the response, and you have the option to use the response that it gives you, or you can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You can go back and add additional details here. You can have it say, make it shorter, make it more detailed. Once you're happy with what you have there, you can click use. So it fills your field for you. So you can edit from here. If you wanted to, you could just go in and edit that text. And then anytime another user comes in, or same user comes in to edit this record, this text is open for editing. So you can write over it. The thing I think that's to remember here is that it's not going to automatically re-summarize your case every time you come to this record. It summarizes it, it fills your field, and that's that. If you want to re-summarize it, you can go through the process again, where you click the sparkly button, and it'll generate new text for you. You can use it, but it's kind of, once it gets filled in, that's what you have. Okay. So any questions on the field generation prompt type before we move along? Okay, and I don't see anything, so we'll keep going. All right, so the next type of prompt template that we'll cover is the sales email type. And our use case here is to help a sales executive create a personalized follow-up email to a prospect who hasn't responded to a previous message. And thank you to Salesforce Ben, which I got a little help with some use cases from one of their articles. Okay, so for this prompt template, we're going to enable sales emails and create our prompt template, and then I'll show you from the user side how to send the email. Okay, enabling sales email is very simple. We'll go to Salesforce Setup, search for Einstein for Sales, and toggle on that turn on sales emails toggle. Okay, and then creating the prompt template. Okay, so I won't go through the prompt template creation in as much detail, since we've already kind of covered the bits and pieces, but we'll select sales email as our prompt template type, and we'll give it a name, we'll give it a description, and then since we've selected sales email, we have the option of selecting a recipient and a related object. And the recipient can be a contact or lead. Okay. Here's our prompt builder workspace. So we've entered our prompt template in there, and you can see we're pulling fields from the sender, the recipient, and the product, which is our related list that we selected. Sorry, not related list, related object. Okay. So to take a closer look at the resources that are available once you've selected sales email, again, we have our flows, our apex, our current organization. They're telling us sender instead of current user. It's basically the current user, whoever is actually the one sending the email. And then our recipient, which we have specified to be lead, and then product, which we had set up as our related object. Okay, let's see here. And then of course, we have selected the large language model, and we've probably gone through the preview process to make sure everything is exactly as we want. And then we've saved and activated our prompt template. And then the next step, we're going to go in and see what it looks like to send the email from the user side. So this is going to be available anywhere you see this activity panel where you can send an email. And you see there's a draft with Einstein button at the bottom. So we'll go ahead and click that. And then click this Use Pre-Made Instructions, and that gives us the option where we can select our prompt template. So once again, the template needs to be activated so that you can see the prompt template here as an option. So we are going to select the prompt template. And then because we set it up to have product as our related object, Einstein is prompting us to choose which product we wanted to use as our grounding for this prompt. So we're selecting CrossFit training. Okay, and then it's going to generate the email for you. And from here you can make edits. You can give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down. You can click done. And then you're kind of back at the regular page that you normally see when you send an email. And from here, you can still continue to edit it here if you like, or you can send it. Okay, any questions on sales emails? Okay, great. So our next prompt template type is record summary. So we're going to use the use case to create a rich text summary of the case and case comments. We're going to add that summary to the case lightning record page via ScreenFlow. And this is, I will post the resources at the end. Thanks to Apex Hours, I found a use case, and if you want an even more detailed explanation, I will post that video and they'll walk you through every detail of it. And the steps here, we're going to, as usual, create our prompt template. We're going to create a ScreenFlow. The ScreenFlow is going to call in the prompt template, and then we're going to add that flow to a record page. So creating our prompt template, very familiar screen. We're going to select record summary as our prompt template type. And for record summary, you have one option to choose at the bottom, which is the object that you want to use. Of course, we'll give it a name and a description as well. Okay, so the prompt is pretty simple here, just summarizing case number, status, and case comments. And then I've shown you the resources that you have available with a record summary prompt template type. Flow, Apex, current org, current user, those are kind of the standard, and then case, because we had selected case at the beginning. So we'll select our LLM, preview, make any edits, and we'll save and activate. Okay, so for this one, we're going to venture into flow. So we're going to create a ScreenFlow. So we'll go to new flow, start from scratch, ScreenFlow. Okay, so here's our starting point. The first thing we're going to do is a get record ID. I won't go through this in too much detail, but here's what our get record screen looks like. Basically where the object is case, where the ID matches this record ID variable. So basically what we're going to be doing is once we get to the case, like the actual case record, we're going to get the ID from that case, pass it into a variable, which passes it into the prompt template so we can get our response. So in order to do that, we'll have to create a variable. So here's our new resource variable, just very simple text variable, allow for input. And then the next thing we'll do is kind of call out to our prompt template. So in order to do that, we're going to add an action. From the action category, we're going to select prompt template, and then we should see our prompt template that we created, our case summary. Of course, as usual, that needs to be activated so that it'll show up in this list. Okay, so now we're filling out the action here, so we'll give it a label. You should give it a description. I didn't do that for my demo, but okay, and then for the input value, we're going to use the case from our get record ID. So that's the get records, passing the ID into our template. And then the last step is we're going to add a screen. This also very simple. We're just going to drag display text over, and then what we're going to display is the prompt response from the previous action. Okay, so this is what the flow looks like overall. Still pretty simple. Any questions about the flow? Didn't go into too much detail. I'm kind of trying to give the idea of just how this works, how it can be used in a flow. Okay, so I'll continue on. And then here's how we can add the flow to the Lightning record page. So here we are on the case object, and we are in our Lightning record page. So we're dragging the flow component onto the page, and then we can set it up here at the right. So we're going to select the flow, and then the important bit is to pass the record ID into the variable. And then here's how it'll look from the user side. They'll open the page and they'll see the case summary. So unlike the field generation prompt template we covered with a case summary, this case summary here would automatically generate every time you open the page. So while that is handy, it's also something to consider for page load time. So you probably wouldn't want to have something like this on the front page of your record. It can slow down load times, but maybe put it on another tab. But still nice to just always have that updated summary at your fingertips. Okay, any questions on the record summary before we move along? Okay. All right, and last but not least, we have the Flex template. So I know someone mentioned in another session they love using the Flex template because if none of the other... What's that?
It was Meg.
Meg, okay. Yeah, if none of the other templates work for you, the Flex template is very flexible and you can use it for everything else. But our use case for today is to create a newsletter for a popular vacation destination, highlighting events happening on the property during the guest's stay. Once again, I took this straight out of Trailhead. And I will share that link with you at the end. Okay, so we're creating our new prompt template. We're going to select Flex as our template type, give it a name and a description. And then at the bottom, we can define our resources, and you can add up to 5 different resources. So they don't have to be related, just anything that you want to be able to pull into this template. So I think that's why people love the Flex prompt template. Okay, so we've entered our newsletter in here. We've got reservation, check-in and check-out, and experience names, name and location. The resources that we can pull in, as usual, are flow, apex, current org, current user, and then any additional resources we've configured, which in this case is reservation and experience. I'm not going to go into the details of how to actually send this newsletter. I think that's a little bit outside the scope of what we need for the certification. They didn't cover it in Trailhead, but I do want to point out that Flex templates can be executed using Apex, Flow, REST API, or Agentforce. Okay, and that is it for the creation of the prompt templates. And then these are the resources that I mentioned along the way where I kind of found some use cases just to make sure I was teaching everyone the right thing. And I do want to point out, I know it's been mentioned that there's the Prompt Builder templates super badge unit. Within that unit, you can sign up for a free dev org that includes Prompt Builder, because I know the Trailheads, the playground expires after 2 days. So if you want more time to play around with it, I found this really helpful, that you can actually get a dev org that I don't know if there's an expiration date on it actually, as long as you continue using it. So I thought that was a really good trick. So that is all I have. Do we have any questions?
No questions. It was really cool to see it live. Thank you, Karyn.
Thank you.
This is great. Very informative.
Yeah, this was
really
great.
appreciate the deep dive there.
Thank you very much. Okay. I'll stop sharing.